Walking this way, you can see just how big this sale barn was. This fire was right near some businesses. Turkey River is just overflowing. It's spilling into people's yards and homes.
You ready? Let's see. Let's see if I can put my hands on the mane and then just stand up.
Stand straight up.
Like this.
The goat's adventures around town gaining a lot of attention. Authorities did confirm that the body was found in this area last night. Just take a look at this line that is formed this morning. Polls open in just a few minutes at 7 this morning. Already there's a line forming, but as you can see behind me, crews are still out working. The Benton County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that 2 men are dead right outside of Durango in Dubuque County, and you can see behind me parts of Maquoketa Creek are just spilling over and flooding the road. And so, Hagrid, do you think you're ready for the big competition? The sound, as an important part of Applington, burned to the ground. Smoke could be seen for miles after a fire started at Central Iowa Exchange sale barn around 1 this morning. The sale barn going from this overnight to this by day.
Built in 1920, so there's history that we'll never get back again.
Verlin Shepard says he has family that owns this barn.
Trish, she ended up putting a lot of work and effort into this building to get it all fixed up, and now it's gone.
Walking this way, you can see just how big this sale barn was. The owner actually tells me they were supposed to have a household auction here tomorrow, but a lot of the items for that auction burned in this fire. Antiques,
Sad.
furniture, tools.
Yeah, sad day.
Supposed to be sold, but now this.
Don't like to see anybody go through this.
Firefighters worked throughout the early morning in thick smoke and fog, tearing down walls, moving debris. They and the owner trying to wrap their head around how this happened.
Maxwell, I don't know.
For Scott Van Way, his animals
Come on, Max.
and his motorcycles are that joyful noise, drowning out the pain of stage 4 thyroid cancer.
This tube, that's how I feed. They put the food down through this hole.
A burning diagnosis.
It makes the inside of my esophagus feel like it's sunburned.
This summer has not been an easy ride.
All the doctors were telling me is, you might just say your goodbyes. 6 months was the most I heard.
6 months for Scott's good friend Mark Phippen.
He says I have months.
He remembers hearing the news.
I felt like I was gut shot.
But this emotion, this friendship, this didn't always exist. You see, Mark Phippen is actually a detective here at the Benton County Sheriff's Office. He arrested Scott back in 2005, then again in February 2006, and again in March 2006. All 3 times because Scott was making meth in this old barn.
That used to be the kitchen.
And feet away from this barn, in this very spot where I'm talking to these men,
It's right there. Right.
this is where Phippen once arrested Scott.
It's a hard thing to quit because you don't know that you're hooked.
But Scott, he worked hard, and he made a change.
Scott was the one true that, he showed. I'm going to beat this. I'm done.
Sorry.
Scott turned his life around,
My wife
with his wife by his side.
had no idea none of this was going on.
And then this news.
The week before I got off parole, I got diagnosed with stage 4 thyroid cancer.
Mark now standing by Scott through this new battle.
Mark didn't give up on me.
An unimaginable friendship.
I think the debate in 2005 and 2006 was whose ponytail was better, yours or mine.
Yeah.
Getting past each of life's hills one ride at a time.
I knew his friends, and they weren't friends. He's got friends now.
Arlington, Iowa. Rural, quiet, a few hundred people. You could say it's un poco, or a little, taste of Iowa. Poco, also the name of this horse in town.
Good boy.
Poco lives in Kimberly Bright's backyard.
Got plenty of room to run.
The two met about a year ago.
He had a half an ear, and I thought, oh, he's not whole neither. That's his kisses. And together we're full. Together we're whole. But
What's he doing?
I don't know. He just does that. If I stood closer, he'd have my hair.
For Kimberly, Poco's not just a pet.
Come on, baby.
He's Kimberly's
Come on.
therapy horse,
I don't have suicidal thoughts
helping her battle PTSD.
because I think, who's going to take care of Poco?
A doctor's note from Regional Family Health reads, Ms. Bright has significant mental health problems for which animal therapy has been beneficial.
Having her horse to tend to on her property is part of her therapeutic regimen.
But Kimberly and Poco live here on Liberty Street, and the Arlington City Council says this is within city limits. It's not the place to keep Poco. The city did not want to comment on air about this, but I do have multiple warning letters from them saying that families and a daycare with young children nearby are in this area. The warning letters also say neighbors filed complaints about Poco getting loose several times and complaints about the smell of manure coming from Kimberly's yard.
Kind of feel for the horse in a little corner lot like that. When he's on bare dirt, it's not the place. It just isn't the place.
Other neighbors, like the Petersons here, say Poco doesn't bother them.
I think it's fun to have the horse across the street.
Hi. For Kimberly,
Good boy.
she says she's looking after her horse. And she says she built this
I got this chain link fence.
to keep Poco from escaping again.
Behind there, yeah, it is a cornfield.
She also says she's near the edge of town.
It looks like I see corn stalks. You know, if I lived in the middle of town, of course I would have never bought a horse. I don't think I've fought for anything in a long time.
That is until Poco stepped in.
But then he came along and he gave me a voice.
Now it's up to the court to decide
I don't know what's going to happen.
if Poco should go. Amanda Gilbert, News 7 KWWL.